They call it the Asus ROG Gamer Flow X16. This is the GV601R. This has the mini LED display, the RTX 3070 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM, and the Ryzen 9 6900HS CPU. I've been waiting to get my hands on this computer. I'm gonna unbox it first. Since about, I think, May. I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally we have the opportunity. I think this might be the laptop that brings together all of the things we love about the M16, the G15, the G14, and the X13, and it all lands in this one package. I'd like to thank Ystamp for sponsoring this video. I've been using Ystamp as my go-to email signature for a few years now, but recently I've been hiring a few team members and needed a way to keep the whole team's signatures aligned with my brand while communicating with clients and vendors. Enter Ystamp Teams. I can easily edit the overall look and feel of every team member's email signature by changing one template inside of Ystamp Teams. As my brand image continues to evolve, I don't have to fret about one of my team members showing my old logo in their email signature, and therefore throwing off the professionalism of my brand. Once the overall template is locked in, each team member can personalize aspects of their email signature to represent their role inside of my company. Ystamp Teams comes with all of the amazing features of Ystamp. So if you're a photographer, designer, or artist, you can embed your Instagram feed or your Dribble directly into your email signature with zero coding skills required. Also, as a videographer or video editor, you can embed YouTube videos into your email signature just like my tech reviews. Those visual integrations are just scratching the surface. You can embed an online scheduler, accept online payments, video conferences, webinar promotions, and so much more. Whether you're a freelancer or business owner, Ystamp has what you need to take your professional image to the next level within your email communications. And as the sponsor of this video, they're offering 35% off the first year of their team subscription by using the link in the description below this video, along with the discount code BENJI35. Let's take a sip of tea first, of course. All right. Wow, it's a little heavy. A little heavier than I would have expected, to be totally honest. That magnesium alloy chassis is thin, but it's not as light as I was thinking it would be. We'll pull up the weight and thickness on the screen right now, so you can see that. But I'm actually fine with it being a little heavier because I know that the build quality on this thing is top notch. Now the next thing I want to take a look at is the charger block, of course. We have a 240 watt charger block, and then of course your extra power cord as well right there. So that's all that you'll need to take with you on the go. Let's go ahead and get this thing unwrapped and then we'll keep moving forward. So there is the laptop. Like I mentioned earlier, it feels a little heavier than I expected, especially compared to the X13. You know, it's quite a bit smaller in package. And so maybe that's where I thought, you know, X13, X16, like how much heavier could it get? And it is a little bit heavier than the 13 for sure. But man, the way that this thing is put together looks very nice. It's got a little tappiness there. So we've got some thinner magnesium alloy on the bottom. Let's go ahead and check the top for a tap test. That sounds really good. So thin, trying to lighten up the laptop as much as they can, creates a little bit of tappiness here in this section of the laptop. But the way it's assembled nicely. You have a little bit of a catchy edge here on the bottom cover fitting into the side panel. Nothing too concerning, but it does stick out a little bit more than perfectly flush. Just keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and check out the connectivity. On the right side panel, we have two USB type A's, a micro SD card slot, our power button, and then a nice size vent here. On the left side panel, we have an HDMI, USB Type-C, and a headphone jack. And we also have the connector for the XG Mobile. I honestly don't know if you would buy the 3070 Ti, why you would think about hooking up the XG Mobile. To me, if I bought maybe the 3060 version, I'd consider getting the XG Mobile because that'd be a substantial difference between the 3060 and the 3080 versus the 3070 Ti and the 3080. But again, you have that option if you want it. And of course, we have our power adapter right there. So this thing does have a good amount of ports. The only thing I'd say I'm slightly disappointed about is, of course, the micro SD card slot versus the full-size SD card slot. I still don't get why they're putting these on here. I don't think it's the best use of space. I think you just don't do a port or give us the full-size SD card reader. Personally, that's what I feel is best. All right, let's go ahead and see how this thing opens and closes with one hand. Gonna get my finger under there. Opens and closes nicely with one hand. Let's go ahead and check out that screen flex. Yeah, that magnesium alloy is very stiff. That's really good. All right, let's check this thing out. Man, that is a beautiful screen. See if we got enough power here to fire this thing up. Oh man, all right, so like I mentioned earlier, this might be the perfect culmination of a bunch of different models here. When you look into this laptop, it almost looks like you're looking at the M16 or the G15, right? You have these vents here, which I'm hoping contain some speakers, but we shall see. Normally they have maybe like a tweeter under here sometimes, but sometimes all these are is vents. So during the full review, we'll definitely check that out. But look at this trackpad, all right? So if you compare it to the trackpad on the X13, it is a much larger trackpad. It's a nice large glass trackpad. Feels really nice to the press. That is something that I was really hoping we'd see in this model, and they did not disappoint. But I mean, goodness, look at the size difference between these two laptops. The X13, whoops, slowed it under there, and the X16. You're getting a lot more laptop for the 16. Now, it's gonna cost you about $1,000 more for this specific model. Like I said, it's the GV601R. The recording of this video is around $2,600, but it is totally stacked with performance, and that screen, man, that screen is beautiful. So definitely a lot of value they're packing here. This trackpad is super neat. It's got these lines coming across it. It has a nice pattern. Of course, you have your ROG symbol here, your Republic of Gamers symbol here. And the keyboard is actually a matte finish here, and then has these lines here on the keyboard deck. So I really like that. The keyboard itself is very similar to the X13. If you've watched my review on the X13, very similar layout. In fact, it might even be the same keyboard as far as size is concerned. Yeah, it looks very similar. Even the sizing, it looks like they put this keyboard right on top of the X16. Except, obviously we have space here on each side for what would be these, speakers and or vents. I know a lot of you guys wonder, do you look up the laptops a lot before you review them? No, because I want to give you my total first impressions. Once we get into the review, that's where I've dug in a lot more, given you a lot more information. But I want to give you my first impressions on what it's like to open up the laptop for the first time. What I'm shocked by, what I think is good, what I think is bad. I just want that to come out very clearly and naturally. Now, while we're looking at the screen, let's go ahead and do a quick sample of the webcam, give you a sample of that and the audio as well. This is the webcam for the Asus Republic of Gamer X16 and a little sample of the audio for you as well. I must say this display is beautiful. 16:10 aspect ratio, mini LED. They're saying it has a 100% DCI-P3 Pantone validated, so great screen for creators, gonna have all that color accuracy and color gamut range that you need to make sure whether you're color grading video or you're editing photos, you're getting accurate colors, as accurate as you can get, for RGB. If you're gonna be printing your photos, that whole RGB to CMYK conversion can be kind of confusing. I've got full videos on my channel covering stuff like that, but I won't digress here on that right now. The hinges on the Flow X16 are very nice. I like they're thicker, so they've got some good grip on the screen there. And of course, this is a 2-in-1 laptop. So if you're an artist, go ahead, flip it over, work on the project you're working on. If you're a graphic designer or a photographer, you can touch up those photos. A lot of flexibility with this computer, which is why I think it takes kind of the best of a bunch of different computers and throws it into this one design. And I think that's why this might be a great bang for buck for somebody looking for a lot of the different features from some of the other laptops, and they all come together into this X16. To me, it's like Asus, did a bunch of research throughout the years, and it's like, okay, let's take what everybody's saying and put it into this device. And that's what I'm seeing with the X16. Now we're trying to reach 100,000 subscribers by Christmas, and we're actually doing a huge giveaway once we reach 100,000 subscribers. So if you want to get there faster, you want that giveaway to come sooner, definitely subscribe to the channel, comment below this video why you're here, what your creative profession is. If you're a student, if you're in your career, or if you're thinking about getting into the creative space, tell me more about that in the comments below this video. Love to learn more about you, my audience. Thank you for being a faithful member of the community. Super grateful for you. And make sure you subscribe so we can hit the 100,000 subscribers and kick off that giveaway. I think one of the best decisions that Asus made was putting the Ryzen 9 6900HS in this laptop. with 32 gigs of RAM and the 3070 Ti. So what you're gonna be getting here is fantastic, efficient performance with the 6900HS. You're gonna be getting great graphics performance with the 3070 Ti, and you're gonna have great multitasking performance with that 32 gigs of RAM. I mean, this is just such a amazing combination. Now it is about $2,600, as I mentioned, so it's on the upper end of the mid-range price point. To me, anything above $2,500 is about to break over into that high-end price point. So you're right there at the tip of it. I consider this still kind of mid-range because you look at some 3D modeling laptops, they can be anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000. You look at some higher-end 6K video editing laptops, they can be anywhere from $2,800 to $3,200. So I think it hits the top end of the mid-range budget. All right, now before we continue on, let's go ahead, flip this laptop over, get the bottom cover taken off, and check out the upgrade path for the X16. As I pull the bottom cover off of the laptop, my notion that this is the best of all the Republic of Gamer laptops is continually confirmed. We have 3 fans. We have access to both RAM sticks here, so you can swap those out. Right now, this one has 32 gigs of RAM, 2 16 gig sticks. You could upgrade this to 2 32 gig sticks for 64 gigs of RAM. You have access to 2 M.2 slots, 1 occupied, 1 unoccupied, and a 90 watt hour battery. So it's the best. Now, I've yet to benchmark it, so that's gonna come in the next video. So I definitely hope you subscribe and get on board for that next video so we can see if this thing has the performance as well as it has the functionality. Really, the biggest loss for me on this laptop is that it comes with a micro SD card slot rather than a full-size SD card slot. Now, if you're curious about the exact live pricing as you're watching the video, you can head down in the description below and click that link. If you do make a purchase, I'll get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you. But of course, that's what keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. Don't forget to subscribe as we're heading towards 100,000 subscribers, and I'll see you here in the next video.